Throwing a stowaways overboard is a serious crime under both international law and most national legal systems. The FAL Convention, formerly the Convention on Facilitation of International Maritime Traffic, 1965, and as amended in 2018, provides a framework for dealing with stowaways. It stresses that stowaway incident should be dealt with in a manner consistent with humanitarian principles. Due consideration must always be given to the operational safety of the ship and the safety and well-being of the stowaway. But as reported on the 22nd of May 2025, in the vast and unforgiving waters of the Atlantic Ocean, a tragedy unfolded, one that could have claimed the lives of 4 young Nigerian men, desperate for a better future. James John, Favor Efe, Kingsley Williams, and Kingsley Matthew, all young or determined, secretly boarded a foreign cargo ship, fleeing Nigeria's deepening economic crisis. Their destination? Anywhere but home. But instead of hope, they were met with horror, discovered by the ship's crew. The stowaways were allegedly beaten and then thrown overboard, left to die in the cold, endless sea. Just when it seems all was lost, a miracle happened. A maritime logistic team owned by France-based Nigerian mogul, Mr. Harrison Ni Alonge, spotted strange movement in the water. Acting swiftly, Alonge launched an emergency rescue operation. His team discovered the 4 young men, barely conscious, clinging to floating debris, fighting to survive. Another few minutes and they might not have made it, said Olawale Ezike, the company's public relations officer. They were weak, traumatized, but alive. Their survival is nothing short of a miracle. Now recovering his safety, the rescued men are in the hands of the Nigerian Navy, where they are receiving care and support. We have seen many cases of such over the years across Nigeria and other African countries. In July 2023, 4 Nigerian men hidden in a space no bigger than a car truck, clicking to life just inches above the roaring Atlantic Ocean, survived 14 days on a ship's rudder before rescue in Brazil. They traveled over 5,600 kilometers under a cargo ship. Not in it, not on it, but beneath it, in a tiny compartment above the rudder. No beds, no food, no escape. To survive, they tied themselves to nets around the rudder. Every time they looked down, it was death staring back. Sharks, waves, endless black water. Sleep was rare. The constant edgy roar, the tight space, the fear of discovering, it all became a nightmare. On the 10th day at sea, their food and water were gone. The only thing left to drink was seawater crashing below their feet. They endured another 4 days of this, starving, dehydrated, afraid, until a miracle. Rescued by Brazilian Federal Police at the port of Vitória. Their desperation was supposed to be Europe, but instead they had landed on the opposite side of the world, in Brazil. 2 of the men have since returned to Nigeria, but thank God Yeye and Roman Ebimene Friday seek asylum, hoping Brazil will show them mercy. These men didn't leave Nigeria because they wanted to. They left because they had no choice. Economic collapse, flooded farms, crime and insecurity. Nigerians' young people have been pushed to the edge. Their story is one of desperation, courage and survival. But it's also a warning. How bad must things be for someone to risk this? At this moment, let's look at the legal implication. Throwing stowaways overboard is a serious crime under both international law and most national legal systems. 1. Homicide or attempted murder. If the stowaways die as a result, it's considered murder or manslaughter, depending on jurisdiction and intent. Even if they survive, it's likely attempted murder. 2. Violation of maritime law. Under international maritime law, for example, the United Nations Convention on the Law of Sea, UNCLOS, shipmasters have a legal and humanitarian duty to protect lives at sea. Even stowaways, abandoning or killing them is a direct violation. 3. Human rights violation. Deliberately endangering or killing individuals at sea violate fundamental human rights. These actions could be prosecuted under international criminal law, especially if they are systematic or widespread. 4. National jurisdiction. Depending on where the vessel is registered, as a flag state, or where it was located at the time, for example, territorial waters, the crew could be prosecuted under that country's criminal code. Some countries also claim jurisdiction over crimes involving their nationals, e.g., the stowaways or crew. And number 5, the FAL, that's FAR Convention, formerly the Convention on Facilitation of International Maritime Traffic, 1965, and as amended in 2018, provide a framework for dealing with stowaways. It stresses that stowaways incident should be dealt with in a manner consistent with humanitarian principles. Due consideration must always be given to the operational safety of the ship and the safety and well-being of the stowaway. This heartbreaking event isn't just a story of survival. It is a glaring reminder of Nigeria's growing immigration crisis. With unemployment, insecurity, and hopelessness on the rise, more young people are risking everything on dangerous journey abroad. Hundreds attempt it every year, not all survive. Will this near tragedy finally spark the change Nigeria so desperately needs? Or will more young lives be lost to the sea? What do you think should be done to help desperate youth in Nigeria? Drop your thoughts in the comments. Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe for more real life stories that matter. Your thought matters because their lives depend on it.
It's the moment Brazilian federal police rescued 4 Nigerians who had spent 14 days above the rudder of a cargo ship. The migrants had run out of food and water on their 10th day at sea. Thank God Opimibo Matthew Yeye is one of them.
It was a terrible experience for me. Being a first time, I've never tried that before, but because I already made up my mind to leave, so I just summoned the courage, but then it's not easy, seeing those sheep, shaking, I was so scared.
2 of the men have since been returned to Nigeria upon their request. Yeye and the other man, Roman Epimene Friday, have applied for asylum in Brazil.
I pray the government of Brazil and Casamento the migrant should have pity on me, have mercy on me to maybe look for a better job for me to work.
Both men said economic hardship, political instability and crime had left them with little option but to abandon their native Nigeria. Friday said his journey to Brazil began on June 27th when a fisherman friend rowed him up to the stern of the Liberian-flagged Can Wave, docked in Lagos, and left him by the rudder. To his surprise, he found 3 men already there, waiting for the ship to depart. He said he had never met his new shipmates and feared they could toss him into the sea at any moment. Once the ship was moving, Friday said the 4 men made every effort not to be discovered by the ship's crew, who they also worried might offer them a watery grave. The 4 men said they had hoped to reach Europe and were shocked to learn they had in fact landed on the other side of the Atlantic in Brazil. Father Paulo Paris, a priest at the Sao Paulo shelter, where Reuters spoke to the 2 Nigerian men, said he had come across other cases of stowaways.